Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad you could be here for this special webcast brought to you by Milestone Systems. My name is Keith Harris. I'm your host for today's webinar on the fundamentals of XProtect video management software. Whether you're brand new to XProtect or if you have years of experience, today is about giving you a clear picture and a practical view of how it works. Milestone's mission is simple. We want to make the world see. XProtect is the open platform VMS trusted worldwide to protect people, property, and performance of your business. And today, we're going to show you exactly why. Here's what we'll cover today during our time together. First, we'll explore the XProtect variants and the key product features, from essential highlights to the software clients that put you in control. Then we'll look at the popular XProtect extensions, so you can see how easy it is to connect with solutions like video walls, access control, and license plate recognition. We'll talk about the security system deployment options, giving you the flexibility to scale from a single site to multiple locations. And we'll also walk you through product licensing and customer care. By the end of the webcast, you'll not only understand the fundamentals of XProtect, you'll have a clear picture of how to integrate it with your existing systems, how you scale it to your needs, and how it helps you create safer environments. So let's get started. We have two great speakers lined up for today. Paul Messenger is a 15-year veteran of Milestone Systems. He serves as the area sales manager for the Western United States, and Paul is responsible for leading a team of more than 20 sales and solution engineering professionals. Carl Rubottom is also joining us. He's a security industry expert with more than 25 years of experience. He's our solution engineering manager for the Central United States. Carl is recognized as a physical security subject matter expert, and he has a rich background in enterprise IT. Thank you both for joining us today.
Thanks for having us, Keith.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Well, let's get started with XProtect Variants. The video management software XProtect by Milestone Systems helps business leaders see their businesses with insights for security and beyond. Paul, can you start us off with some information on how XProtect can help business leaders achieve some of their objectives?
Absolutely. So Milestone has 4 distinct versions of our software that scale based on the needs, the budget, and other factors at any customer site. The first entry-level product we have is Express Plus. It's very simple to deploy. It's single site, up to 48 cameras. And if you have a small business, it's a great fit and a low barrier of entry to get into the Milestone family. When you get beyond a single site and start to have multiple sites, or you grow beyond 48 cameras, Pro Plus is the version for you, Professional Plus. It has no limits on numbers of devices or numbers of servers. It also includes some more advanced features like edge storage, the ability to leverage the SD cards and cameras as a failsafe for recording or for bandwidth management. And then it also has that multi-site management and bookmarking. When you get into mission critical systems, you're typically going to start with Expert because it includes a feature called failover, and this allows you to have redundancy. If one of your servers that's recording your cameras goes offline, Expert will have it automatically take over, ensuring you don't have any downtime or missing recordings. It also has more advanced features like multi-stage storage and the ability to set up and be a child site in a federated system, which I'll get into here in a little bit. Corporate is our flagship product. That's for large organizations distributed geographically. You can have thousands of cameras deployed across the globe, and corporate gives you the features to be able to handle that effectively. It's got advanced features like federated architecture, the ability to take the management server, which is the brain of the Milestone system, and put it in a hierarchy. You can set it up as a parent-child relationship, so that you can have multiple management servers that can see each other, but still distribute that management across your facilities geographically. It includes features like evidence lock. So if you have a critical incident that you don't want to be erased from your recording database after you go beyond your retention policy, it can lock it down and you can save it for as long as you want. It also has a feature called video restrictions. So if there's a critical incident at one of your facilities, they're able to lock it down using video restrictions. And you can even set a hidden recording feature so that the recordings of that time won't be visible, but the operators can still see before and after the event. So when you get into systems like that, corporate is where you want to sort of first take your look. And what's important to note is you can start at any one of these flavors of Milestone and easily upgrade to the next version if your system does evolve or if your needs change. And we have software maintenance agreements that make it easy for you to not lose your investment on Milestone and be able to get a full return on your investment as you move upstream. And then also the upgrade process is very simple because it's actually the same software that you're deploying, regardless of which version you use. It's just feature flags that are locked out on any given tier.
I was going to say, it seems like it scales very readily from a single site, small operation up to a very advanced enterprise type of a mission critical installation.
Precisely.
So let's take a look at the client software. This is how the user accesses the software to see the video that's stored and to have operational functionality with various features. We have a smart client, web client, and mobile client, all for XProtect. Paul, what is that? How do people know which one to use, which client to use in which given situation?
Absolutely. So the XProtect Smart Client, that's our primary user interface. That's how most of our customers interact with their video with Milestone. It's a thick client, so you install the software on a Windows workstation. If you have a robust security operations center, you're going to use the Smart Client to display off multiple monitors, etc. It's got powerful features. You'll see later we have a search framework that is included with the Smart Client, so you can do metadata searching, full alarm management. And then it supports all the integrations that we have with our third-party technology partners. So they can have their own dedicated workspaces, we call them, tabs within the Smart Client. So you can take advantage of however their capabilities can augment your core Milestone properties. And then it also supports installing plugins, which we'll talk about later, from some of our camera partners, et cetera, that enhance the feature sets of whatever devices you've added to Milestone. So Smart Client is very feature rich and makes it easy to view, live, playback, search, export, as well as do alarm management. If you want something simpler that it doesn't require installation and is more nimble and doesn't have a dependency on Windows, you can use the web client. The web client, it runs on HTML5, so all you have to do is have a compatible browser and you're going to be able to see your cameras instantly. It's got live playback. It has some search capabilities, not as robust as the Smart Client, but you can find recent recordings and you can set up investigations and download video exports from the web client. It has a similar look and feel to Smart Client, but currently doesn't support mapping and some other features that you might want to take advantage of. And then for surveillance on the go, we have our mobile client. This is compatible with iOS and Android devices. Very great way to see your cameras. Also, it supports push notifications. So when it comes to alarm management, getting those into the hands of people that might be closer to the incident is critical. And then showing them the video so that they know how to respond is highly effective. And we did add mapping to the mobile client within the last 2 years. So you have the ability to see cameras on the map within the mobile client. So it has a lot of the same features as the Smart Client.
And we'll see some of these features as we go forward through our content and our demonstration as we progress through this webinar a little bit, right?
Absolutely, we will.
So we wanted to take a look at some of the features, the highlights of XProtect. So let's take a look first at centralized search. Paul, what is centralized search and why do people want to know about it?
Yeah, so centralized search is a framework we launched many years ago to start to take advantage of how smart the edge devices, the cameras themselves, were getting. So out of the box with Milestone, with any camera connected to it, no matter how old, you can do a quick and efficient thumbnail search from this tab. And then you can refine those searches by obviously time periods, but also by motion. So you can draw a box, any pixel changes in this area, show me, so if you're looking for a laptop that was stolen off of the table, you can draw a box on the table where that laptop was, and Milestone's going to deliver all the results of when there was movement or any activity in that area to quickly find and break free from the rewind and fast forward that we still see a lot of customers doing in order to investigate. But motion searches have inherent problems. Lighting changes can affect them. Camera settings can affect them. So what we've done with the search tab is allow our camera partners to augment it with the metadata that their cameras capture. So object color, object type. And a lot of the cameras that Milestone talks to kind of speak a different language. So what's unique about centralized search is you can write what's called a search plugin to take advantage of the unique technology within your camera. Basically, it can speak the same language as the camera. Depends on which manufacturer it is, so that you can start to search for, say, a person wearing a red shirt, blue pants, moving left to right, for example. So it allows you to break free from being limited to motion search and find results much quickly and reduce your investigations time, saving you money and keeping your assets and your people safer.
And that's available in every variant of XProtect, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Search is a default feature of every version.
And speaking of camera manufacturers, we wanted to take a look at one product integration here with Axis cameras. Can you tell us a little bit about Axis Optimizer and how that works with XProtect VMS?
Yeah. So Axis Optimizer basically helps you take advantage of all the functionality that the Axis devices have once added to XProtect. So it has some management features. So if you're a system admin, it can make it easier for you to manage the devices in bulk. It sort of enhances our already built-in bulk features for managing the devices. And then on the operator side, you really start to see a lot of features and functions, like the ability to search based on their object search. So I can search for vehicles of a certain color. I can search for direction of travel. I can search for clothing color, top and bottom, and I can search for people, vehicles, bicycles, and trucks. So it helps you find objects that are commonly searched more quickly. So all the features and functions of your Axis devices become basically enhanced once you deploy this free plugin to your Milestone Smart Client or Management Client.
And this is probably better shown than it is talked about. So let's jump in and take a look at a quick video here that Paul can walk us through.
Yeah, so what you're going to see here is how the Axis Optimizer basically makes searching with your Axis device more powerful. So what you're seeing here is a search done for the last 2 hours. Milestone automatically finds the recorded clips and gives you a preview. And then what's built into Milestone is the ability to do this motion search that I alluded to earlier. I can pick an area, I can draw a box, and I can look for activity in that particular area, find the times that there's been movement. But with the Optimizer, you have these yellow buttons that appear, and you can do what's called a forensic search. So going beyond simple motion searching and doing a much more intelligent search. So here you see the color buttons, the ability to, again, choose an area of interest, pick a direction of travel, select an object type, and select an object color. So now I'm carving through those hundreds of results I had before to just seeing the blue vehicles moving right to left based on, maybe an investigation I was given. And now I'm switching to just looking for the humans that have been seen, the people that have been seen in the parking lot. And then the green is showing you when they entered the scene, and the red is showing you when they departed the scene. Also, when the motion started, when the motion ended. So it's giving you that visual overlay to help you better understand what's unfolding in your recordings, so that you don't have to waste time rewinding and fast forwarding, and you just get to what's hyper relevant to you. And it's constantly updated. Like, these color buttons weren't there 2 years ago. And then through periodic updates, they enhance the functionality. And as the cameras get smarter, so will your investigations.
And Carl, quick question. What do you need? This is not a trick question. I know you know the answer to this one. What do you need to make this happen? You have XProtect software. You have the Axis free plugin installed. What else do you need?
The other part we didn't really talk about is this works with Axis devices. So you want to make sure you have an Axis device that's connected to your Milestone system, and then the Optimizer plugin will take advantage of those advanced features of the cameras.
So moving ahead, let's take a look at Alarm Manager. Paul, this is something that is also included with every XProtect variant, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. Yes. The Alarm Manager is a dedicated tab in the Smart Client, which you can drag out to its own window if you want to, but it's for real-time alarm management, and any types of events and alarms can be configured and sent to this interface, giving you instant visual verification if something does occur. And that can be, setting up a tripwire, somebody's crossed into a secure area. That can be a license plate recognition alert if you're using Milestone's LPR or one of our partner LPR solutions. It can be an integration with access control, door forced open, or unauthorized entry. And it's going to zap into this alarm manager, which you can then filter based on alarm type. You're going to see the real-time video of the alarm, as well as if you have your map set up, you'll know exactly what location this alarm is happening on. And then if you double click the entry, you get what's called an alarm handling dialog that pops up, allowing you to document how you're going to handle the alarm, see the current video of the devices you've associated with the alarm, as well as the recorded video of what occurred when the alarm was triggered. And then you can assign that to different operators, give it status updates, close it out, acknowledge it if you want to. And then this is compatible in the web client and the mobile client as well. And you can set them all up as push notifications to the mobile if you want people out in the field to be alerted when there's a critical event or alarm.
And the alarm manager ties in with the smart maps as well, correct?
Yes, correct. So any device that's associated with the alarm, if it's plotted on a map, you can have it display the map in your alarm settings. That way, when it occurs, if you're on the alarm manager, you're going to see the map and where the camera is. But if you're just viewing your maps or have those open on a window, you'll see the device itself start to flash red when there's an alarm. So you can see from a map-based perspective as well, immediately where you have alarms occurring. And this is really great if you have deployed us across a wide geography. You can zoom your map out, see your sites, and your site will pulse, and then you can drill down to where the alarm is occurring at one of your sites. So it really gives you excellent geographical awareness and understanding of where things are occurring.
So looking ahead, you mentioned evidence lock earlier. Let's talk a little bit more about that. Who uses evidence lock, and why would you want to make sure it's included?
Yeah, almost every organization can find a use for evidence lock. So all of our customers set a retention policy, right? Whether that's 2 weeks, 30 days, or in many cases longer, depending on your rules and regulations. But sometimes you have an incident that you don't necessarily want to export out of Milestone and create a redundant copy that can get lost. You can forget the password of that export, or it can leak out of your organization. Sometimes you just want to lock it down so that it stays in your Milestone video database so that select operators or all operators can easily still view that incident, even if it gets older than your retention policy. So if you lock down a critical sequence of video, it's going to stay there 35, 40 days, 50 days, as long as you set it when you have an evidence lock, even if your retention policy is 30 days. So that way you're keeping it in the database. You can still search it and find it, but it hasn't been deleted so that you can save it in your recording timeline.
And you'll notice this is an advanced feature of XProtect. Which XProtect variant is this available with?
Evidence lock is limited to corporate, so this is only available in the top tier product.
Let's talk about XProtect extensions. These are add-ons, optional add-ons for your video surveillance platform. They're powerful tools that help to integrate some of your security tools into the VMS. Paul, can you guide us through some of the possibilities here?
Lots of ways from Milestone to enhance your core XProtect. I'm going to focus on the ones that we see most commonly deployed in the market, and that is XProtect Access. So this is the ability to connect to third-party access control, visualize events, lock and unlock doors, get alarms, see who's been where, and speed investigations. So it's really giving you a single pane of glass without locking into a sole source vendor for video and access control. And it allows you to connect to multiple access control platforms simultaneously as well. So it's giving you enhanced visual verification of all your access control events real time, as well as allowing you to easily investigate where a person has traversed through your organization.
So this is a paid extension. Carl, what would you need to make sure that XProtect Access is working properly with your access control system?
Yeah. So realistically, so you make sure it's a supported access control system. And there's several out there. Milestone being the open platform is always happy to work with new partners. I want to make sure it's a supported system. And after that, you're pretty much off to the races. It's a piece that gets installed on your servers that sort of do that software piece for communication between the two.
Wanted to take a little closer look at SmartWall, Paul. Can you tell us what SmartWall is and why people are interested in it?
Yeah, so SmartWall takes the capabilities of the Smart Client and dramatically enhances them for a security operations center. What it allows you to do is with just Smart Client, like with my Express Plus system, I can send a view to multiple monitors. So I can right click any view that I've created and say, hey, go to monitor 2, go to monitor 3 to create my video wall. But that's it. It's dumb. It's not intelligent. If I want to change anything about that wall, I have to manually do that with my keyboard and mouse. And it's just Paul. It's nobody else. With Smart Wall deployed, you can have the wall automatically update, change on schedule, change on event, change on alarm, and you can have multiple operators in the room all interacting with that wall seamlessly from their own workstation. So dragging and dropping cameras, making changes manually, but also you can have it be event driven and rules-based driven using the Milestone rule engine. So if this happens, I want this to happen on this tile, on this video wall. So it helps you more proactively respond to events and alarms, better understand what's happening at your sites.
So SmartWall is one of those paid extensions that's available with XProtect Expert as a paid extension. It's included with XProtect Corporate. So if you're already purchasing XProtect Corporate, you get this as an included feature. One thing that works really well with SmartWall is video push. Paul, can you explain to us what video push is?
Yes, so video push is a unique feature of our mobile client that allows you to turn your phone or tablet into an active surveillance camera, sending video to Milestone. So what I'm going to show in this video is how you can use our rule engine to have the SmartWall automatically change should someone complete a video push from their mobile app. So I'm signing into the mobile app now. When you have video push enabled for the operator, there's video push button at the bottom, and you can start streaming video. And then when you have the rule engine set up for this, SmartWall can automatically display that on a given monitor in the Security Operations Center. If one of your people is sending one of these transmissions, it's probably important, and you want to make sure that it's not missed. It is recorded and stored later, but it's important if you want to be proactive that that video is displayed efficiently in your SOC. And that's what setting up the rule with the SmartWall and having that event-driven rule allows you to do.
And those security operations centers, Carl, are where we see a lot of the need for this type of SmartWall function, and you have operators out in the field that are using their smartphones to push video to the SmartWall, right?
Yeah, a lot of times those bigger customers, there's more cameras than one person can view, and you need an easy way to sort of let your bring the event to your operator versus making them look for the event.
Let's take a look at XProtect LPR, paid XProtect extension that's available to allow customers to track license plates, recognize license plates, trigger certain events and activities within their system. Paul, can you take us through this?
Yeah, so the LPR extension, allows you to do the OCR, the optical character recognition, and start to read plates. And it's camera agnostic. So with Milestone, it's not camera dependent. You can use any camera. Obviously, image quality is very important. Lighting conditions, things of those nature is really important. If the camera can't see the characters, then the software certainly can't read them. But once you have it set up, configured properly, it's very powerful. It can be used for gate control. It can be used for the alarms. It can be used for a watch list. So it makes it really easy for you to go in there and set up a list of positive and negative reaction lists so that you can get an alert if someone has caused trouble before, or even, some hospitalities use it for VIPs. It requires an additional server, but once you have that set up and running the LPR, it makes it really efficient for you to start pulling those lists in. And then the Smart Client gives you a lot of great features for searching those plates, going back, finding ones historically, as well as getting the alarms if you have the list set up. And you can even give it the ability for the operator to manually adjust the list right from the Smart Client. So it's not admins don't have to be the ones shouldering the burden of managing the watch list. Your operators can be empowered to do so with XProtect LPR.
Some customers use this to automatically trigger and open a gate based on a recognized license plate, which helps to avoid having to use things like an RFID tag or a toll tag type of a sticker that goes on the vehicle, right?
Yeah, and we see that cost-saving method deployed by a small HOA all the way to a global company, because it's just simpler, it's more nimble, and you don't have to deal with the handing out of RFIDs and managing that process.
Of course, we're integrated with other LPR manufacturers as well if you need a more robust solution, but this is a great place to start if you have some simple license plate recognition needs. Carl, let's switch over to you and talk a little bit about system deployment. There's a variety of different ways that you can set up your architecture for XProtect, correct?
I always like to say that the Milestone development team gave us a fun set of Legos to build stuff with, and we can start very small, with a single site, and then grow very, very large. As Paul mentioned earlier, it's the same software, so it's just changing out a license to get them different feature flags, and you can go from a single deployment that has grown to a large multi-site deployment that has grown into a much more complex system that we could do an entire webinar just about the two last tiles alone. So it can grow very, very large for extremely complex systems.
Let's talk a little bit about on-prem versus the cloud.
So we were looking before, it was kind of that idea. This is living on-prem, but being honest, this can live anywhere from the cloud to on-prem and anywhere in between. Like the previous slide, we could do an entire webinar based off of this slide, but briefly, we're kind of showing is that you can go everything from, everything living 100% on-prem to a hybrid install where some parts and pieces are living up in the cloud, clear to everything except for the physical cameras living in the cloud. We actually have some very large customers that are, that entire cloud-hosted, cloud-first organization. So that does exist. It is out there, and people are doing it with great success.
And then we mentioned in the previous section about XProtect extensions that we would cover a few of the highlighted features. This is one that you get to explain to us, XProtect Management Server Failover.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is a little bit different than what Paul touched on earlier. When Paul was touching on expert and hire, it was for the failover specific to the recording server. This extension is specific for the management server. So this will allow you to have constant uptime for those high need environments, including SQL. So it basically mirrors two servers to each other. So as long as SQL is installed on that server, it'll mirror those two servers. So if one goes down, the secondary is always there to play backup. And it's completely seamless to the user. They don't know that anything's changing at all. They just continue viewing video and working in the system.
And this allows the end customer to achieve a higher success rate and uptime, correct?
Yeah, very much, very much. It's for those constant need environments where you need to keep things up 100% of the time. It also can be helpful for patching and updates. That way you can make sure you have no or very little downtime as you go through these updates in the system and keep everything running. A lot of times you have these life safety systems, and it becomes important to make sure you can view them.
Paul briefly mentioned earlier some of our upgrade path being available. That's actually taken care of via our Milestone Care program. Carl, can you give us a highlight overviews of the Care program?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. Care is Milestone software assurance and technical support programs. There's two levels here, Care Plus and Care Premium. Both are going to provide access to updates, a full trade-in value. As mentioning, as you move up to that higher tier of product, you can make sure you keep your current value. As well, they provide access to XProtect Remote Manager. I think we're going to talk about that in a moment. Care Premium has a couple additional benefits over Care Plus. They're both fantastic. Care Premium has the direct benefit of letting you go directly to Milestone technical support. I work with some very large customers, and that becomes important for those mission critical environments where they need to have a dedicated response time in order to resolve issues.
Paul, it might be helpful for us to take a quick look at how people gain access to Milestone Care. Can you briefly cover that for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So Care is quoted and sold through our system of reseller partners, and it's based on the version you have and the number of devices that you have. It's available up to 5-year plans, which come with built-in discounts. So you just secure it from our network of partners. Once you have Care Plus in place, you can then choose to add on Care Premium. So it's important to note it's not one or the other. Care Premium is a add-on to Care Plus. So once you have Care Plus in place, you can then extend to Care Premium, and you're going to have your Care Premium expiration date match the term that you've selected for Care Plus. But also the 1 to 5 year increments available with built-in discounts, and you work through your authorized partner, advanced partner, or premier partner to procure it.
And Carl, the CARE program includes something new this year with XProtect Remote Manager. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I would love to. XProtect Remote Manager, or XRM for short. It's included with all your care subscriptions. It's a web-based portal where you can view the health of all of your systems and cameras. So if you have a large distributed system, you can see all those systems in there. As the added benefit, as the end customer, you're in full control. You can determine, which integrators that get access to the system, and even provide full audit logging to see what those changes are. It's also worth mentioning that this doesn't require any open ports in your firewall, any technical changes. This is a service that is hosted by Milestone. So you see it out in the cloud, and we're maintaining the environment. So there's nothing you need to do to view that. It's an easy way to update camera settings and even get basic live viewing when you're on the go.
And XProtect licensing is different from software product to software product. Can you give us a quick overview of how licensing works with that XProtect?
Yeah, so I got kind of lucky with this slide. XProtect licensing is pretty straightforward. We mentioned a couple times the extensions. Those are sort of a separate product off to the side. But for the core Milestone product, XProtect, there is a base license, which just comes with the software. I sort of like to describe it as the ability to install the software. And then the rest of your system is based off the number of device licenses. So you'll find that, one device is going to take one license as long as it's on the supported list. And that can be everything from, cameras and multi-head cameras clear to IoT devices like a Triton or Halo sensor that doesn't even have a camera on it.
Okay, now is the fun time where we get to switch gears and actually see the product in action. You've seen a couple of videos earlier that we showed you, but now Carl's going to take us through and demonstrate some of the highlights of XProtect. Carl, take it away.
So we're going to go over just a real brief overview and then touch on a few of the features we kind of talked about. We could talk all day long about all the features, so we're just going to try and highlight some of them. As you would probably guess, this is that live view. You can see things that are live. It's easy to shift into playback and, do what Paul was saying, the fast forward, rewind, pull back and see video. So it's very easy to find that. I always like to start by kind of mentioning that because sometimes you kind of get lost in the cool features, and it's good to know the basics are also always there. As you go around, you're going to be able to change views on the left side, and cameras can belong to one or more views. And this is an example of view that has a map in it. This is where we kind of have that ability to, scroll out, zoom in, go through, look at the building itself, see when the cameras are clustered. When they have errors or problems on it, you're going to see the red rings flash around we were kind of mentioning. Moving across the top of the screen, there's a series of tabs that kind of set the smart client apart. And that search, that's something we keyed on pretty hard. So what I'm going to do is go here in my search, and I'm going to look for an elevator. So the doors to our office, and this is a live system in our office. The doors to our office are a pair of elevators. I like to grab the right elevator because, as you would guess, there typically is some, traffic that happens on there. Like that video was showing us here, if I do video for the last 24 hours, you're going to have a lot of results in there. And these are going to be every time that the doors open or close, whether there's a person there or not. See, here we can find a person, but let's go through and do some of that advanced searching to actually find someone. So I'm going to hit search for, and I'm going to go to the forensic search. This is part of that access optimizer we were talking about. This is that free plugin that is leveraging the cameras to get more information out of the metadata. So as this comes up here for my search, I'm going to go down to my object type, and I'm going to say human, because I'm betting I'll find a person inside this, inside the building, probably not a vehicle. As well, let's say, we have this guy in this orange shirt. Let's see if we can find someone in a white shirt. So I go through, and it's always great when demos work. Here you can see we've managed to go through and find people coming into the office that have a white shirt on. Let's see if we have anyone that came with a black shirt. As we go through, you can see it's very, very easy to go through and cycle and find that person with the black shirt. Some of the key points from here is that searching becomes great, and we found it really, really quickly. But so now what do we do? And this is a common use case. Think like, if you're at a school working at the front desk, you're someone who doesn't live in the video system every single day. This is where these features become super helpful. So here I found an individual in a black shirt. And over here, you can preview the video, as you would kind of guess. You need this cool little dots that are kind of showing you the path. But this other little button right here, it lets you sync back to the time on your playback tab. So if I go back to my playback tab, or back to my live tab, and again, go back to my little demo view, you'll see that then we found this individual. So now it's much easier to find them and see all of the cameras in the lobby. I didn't have to go through and scrub tons of video to find it. As well, let's look at that evidence log. So how can we say, you know what, this video happened, it's important, we need to keep it from Paul's use case. So I'm just going to right click and choose my start and end time. And it's as simple as just dragging right on the bar itself. And I'm going to go up and say evidence log. Right here, I'd say create. And I'm able to go through and create an evidence log and determine how long the video is going to be stored. We could keep it for, a certain period of time, or I could say for, months or a year. So as long as it's kind of needed on there. I'll hit cancel because we don't need to actually create one. So let me go ahead and clear that out. And next up, let's talk about the alarm manager. This came up a couple times from the conversation. So the alarm manager is your easy way to go through and, take an event and bring it to your operator's attention. Here we have something that's doing fall detection as well. Here you can talk, even tying back into XProtect LPR, we can see where it's easy to go through and get an alarm that when that vehicle went through and it got caught with this license plate. As well, we're going to see that we know that's in this building on that camera, and it gives us an easy view of which cameras have events with them. It's also very, very helpful if you are a new guard. If you're new to the organization, new to the building, new to the environment, you may not know exactly where all of these cameras live. So knowing that this camera has an error, and typically systems wouldn't be this busy. We have a lot of errors being generated for demos. It's not as exciting when there's just nothing going on for a demo, or nothing going on in the system for a demo. But we can easily see that here, this camera had an error on it. It's even easy to slide over it and to get a view of that camera, and even change the size and make it bigger in a little floating window. So those things become very, very, very helpful for your operators who are not well versed with the system. Other things we kind of talked about, and I'm not going to try to go too much into detail with everything, becomes access.
Carl, let me jump in here if I could. I have a quick question.
Yes, please.
Or a quick comment. The smart map that you had showing there is actually a function that you can use not just for one site, but for many sites, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. As we looked at that smart map, let me go back down and find my view. That smart map, and we'll even take a peek at it because we have that sort of set up. Here we're seeing, the office here in Portland. So if I scroll out and go out quite a bit, you'll see that Milestone is a global organization. And if we actually slide over, you're going to see we have cameras down in Mexico that we can kind of look at, as well as seeing cameras over in Denmark, where headquarters as well as some and the other offices in India and UAE and other places. So it's very easy to navigate on the map, again, for someone who doesn't know where everything's at, to go through and find these. Here you can see that we have this cool little Lego city set up, and we can go through and just get a quick live preview and see exactly what's going on. Yep. And so as we look at access control, as we slide over this access control tab, we're going to go through and see what we have for doors in the system. You can see here we have 4 different doors in the system, but it's worth mentioning that these 4 doors are on 4 separate access control systems. You can see we have Genea, OnGuard, Brevo, and Secure all tied in. And it's important to remember that layer that we have for the XProtect access is presenting a common interface, so that all of these look and feel the same. So I can do different things in the door depending on the integration, but I'm going to be able to get state information like the door is open, the door is closed, the door is forced open, or when it was last viewed. And because, of course, all of those events, if this door gets forced open, can trigger an alarm inside of the alarm manager. The alarm manager, again, becomes your point, in which case you can bring attention to the operator itself. Other fun stuff, from the alarm manager that Paul touched on briefly, is these details tabs. So there's not a lot of details in here, sort of just an example, but this is where you could have instructions. So perhaps, that this is a camera that hits a watch list and a plate. These instructions could be, hey, when a VIP is showing up, you need to go through and make sure they get into the gate, something like that. As well, we can require a duty log. So you can have your instructions that, hey, if a door gets forced open, you need to go verify what's happened to that door, make sure it's locked. And before they can close this alarm, they need to leave some kind of a note in there for the system. We pop back to the main view, and we kind of can take a peek at some of those access analytics we were talking about before. So bringing some of those access analytics in, well, Keith was mentioning the AOA, is tied directly in. So those analytics are very simple to set up on the camera itself and very simple to identify the triggers. Here you can see we have a view that's kind of combined everything together. It kind of gave us a quick overview of the camera configuration itself, as well as the event and even some live video as was going by. You can see the events as it's going through. It just pulls it into one simple view for everyone to sort of go through. Continuing on, let's take a peek at some of the other devices that can tie into XProtect. So we talked about a little bit that it could be any device that's not just a camera. So let's take a slide down to see what we kind of have going on. Let's take a peek at this Triton sensor. So this is where we're pulling in something to XProtect that is, not a video. So we're still going to have some kind of display showing us the device itself, but we're going to have other information that's IoT information, the temperature of the room, air quality, and in the case of think this could be a device that could be, in a bathroom. We're going to be able to get, if there's a vape or, THC, kids do interesting things in schools and get an alert and alarm from it. So we can get an alert and alarm based off those different events without having to have different sensors in those rooms and pulling them into one centralized interface for your operators to go through and see. Let's jump over and take a peek at LPR. Gives us a quick idea of what's going on and see the vehicles we kind of have set up. So here I have my grid and my filters are open to show me all the vehicles that are going through. You can see that we have vehicles that are on a hot list as well as vehicles that are unmatched. So we can generate rules based off of match list or not match list. You'll also notice there's license plate styles, kind of giving you the information, as well as a new feature, make and model. We're not going to find everything for every single model, but for a lot of these, we're going to get pretty close, as well as color. And then the fun part is, from that same ability, you can search off of those same effects. So I'm going to clear the search previously I had finding a person. I'm going to go here for a camera, and I'm going to use the search to find my LPR camera. And directly from here, I'm going to say, let's search for vehicles. And searching for vehicles, I can say, you know what? I'm looking for white. Let's see if we get lucky with a live demo. Or we can go down and find the match list they're allowed to. So here we can find that LPR hot list we saw before. We can see that these are the vehicles that are on that same match list. We're going to see a quick preview of the license plate list itself, as well as information about the event down here. Just like the other event, it's easy to come here and hit this button to sync back up to your normal time, or to your normal view, and easy to come up to the top and again find where that's at. This is very helpful when you have users that don't live in the system every day. So now it was very easy for me to go through and find this same vehicle. Here we have a quick screenshot of the setup, but here we're able to go through and find that vehicle. It's the same vehicle we found in the search tab, but we're using the search framework to go through and find that time and pull it over into our investigation to make it much easier for users who don't live in the system every single day.
And we have some nice capabilities with video analytics. Of course, Milestone is tightly associated and integrated with our product BriefCam, which is a video analytics platform. But we work with other video analytics platforms as well, right, Carl?
Absolutely. I mean, you can see we have different slip and falls right in here from Aristi, as well as several other different kinds. We are fully support all of the analytics out there. We love playing with our partners.
And BriefCam, again, is a Milestone product, but they work with several different VMSs as well. They're not just exclusive to an XProtect integration. They work with lots of our competitors as well, because we're an open platform company.
Yeah, absolutely. Milestone is the open platform, and we make sure that's with all of our products.
We'll be wrapping up the video here and transferring over to questions and answers. We're getting a lot of questions right now. So, but right now we've got questions popping in from all over the world. We've got people literally showing up from everywhere, and we appreciate you joining us. If you have questions, drop them into the question section of the GoToWebinar app. If you want us to reach out to you and answer questions and provide a demo for you, please leave your information with us, either in the chat, or you can also respond in the survey that we'll have at the end of the webinar. So, Carl, thanks for the fantastic demo. Paul and Carl, both of you, thanks for guiding us through this discussion. We'd love to give you an opportunity to hear some answers. We're going to run through some answers really quick in the time that we have left. Let me start here with some of the questions that we have coming in. Carl, this one's probably for you. Does XProtect LPR work in every state? What countries does it support? Or does it follow? How does it work in terms of?
That actually sounds like something I'd love to talk about. Yeah, so XProtect LPR it works in over 200 countries and all 50 states. It's constantly being developed, and there's new updates that are still on the horizon. It's going to add additional features to it, so it's still being developed and works in all 50 states.
Let's take a look at variants of XProtect. Which variants include a smart wall and video push? I know we covered that, but if you could answer that question for us, it would help.
Yeah, we talked about it briefly. The smart wall is included with the corporate product, or it's an add-on to the expert product. And the video push from your phone to mobile is, any product. It does not require the higher tier. So you can start with a lower tier and take your baby steps into it and grow into a bigger SOC.
Paul, is it possible with forensic search to tell the Milestone software to follow a specific person? How can you follow that person over multiple cameras and trace them through their traveled route?
So you can use search to choose the same criteria to try and find the same individual that matches those characteristics across multiple cameras. So, hey, show me, all the men wearing blue moving this direction is supported with several of our camera manufacturers. And then if you want to go beyond that, you could choose an enhanced analytic like we have with BriefCam to actually do an appearance similarity. Say, hey, show me all the people that match this description across multiple cameras. You do that forensically, and then they have a new feature called Fast Track, where if you're trying to follow somebody real time, they can process that video much faster and start to see where an individual matching that description has moved without you having to do anything. So it's all AI driven, which is exciting.
A little bit more on that. We had a question about video analytics that are available with Milestone VMS. What do you have available there?
Yeah, so Milestone doesn't have any analytics built in, right? We are a partnership company, so we're doing everything we can to support all the edge-based camera analytics. And then we have a BriefCam as part of the Milestone family now, if you want to enhance and go beyond what edge devices can do and bring some intelligence to your existing cameras that may be older or don't have the brain power or the analytics at the edge. So those are the options for Milestone. And then look to us to start to embed basic analytics into our products over the next few years, but no firm timelines on when we'll have basic object detection, et cetera, out of the box.
Some people have noticed that Essential Plus is no longer listed as an available option. What's going on with that? And do we have any plans to bring it back, or what's happening there?
No plans to bring it back. So Essential Plus, formerly Essential, formerly XProtect Go, for those of us that have been around a long time, we've always had a free teaser version of our products. It just doesn't make sense in 2025 to have that. If you want, there's too many options when it comes to smaller than 8 camera systems that are free and simpler to deploy than Milestone, if I'm being honest, that are out there. We didn't see the value in offering the Essential Plus option anymore. Since Express Plus does have such a low price point, if you want the value of what Milestone brings, it's very inexpensive to do that for 8 cameras or less. So we decided to simply retire Essential Plus. And at this time, there's no plans to re-release a free product in the future.
Let's talk a little bit about mapping and the web client. Some folks have outside companies that monitor the intrusion systems. They share information with local PD. How do they get that mapping in the web client?
Yeah, so that is on the roadmap, right? So for a long time, the only way to use a map was with the smart client. And then I forget, I think it's 2024 R2. We rolled it to the mobile app. And the mobile and the web are based on similar code base. So it's just a matter of time. It's already on the roadmap. It's planned for 2026. What I don't know yet is whether that's R1, R2, R3, or a potential push. But we know we need to deliver the web client to the we know we need to deliver the map to the web client. We also understand that people want to stop deploying thick clients, stop installing thick clients. So look for the web client to continue to gain feature parity with the smart client. it's going to continue to get stronger. In fact, just a few years ago, got a major UI update. So now it looks extremely similar to the smart client. Whereas for those of you that used it in the past, it was a completely different experience viewing live and playing back video when you jump to the web client. So that's already been erased, and look for the web client to come in a release next year.
Carl, what's the maximum number of cameras or devices that a single XProtect deployment and support under the corporate license? What hardware considerations are typically available to define those limits?
Yeah, that becomes a big question. We'll see if we can get it done in a couple minutes. Hardware is honestly going to be completely dependent on what you have for cameras. I mean, we're really just down to, what bytes are coming in and what bytes are going out. So your local solutions engineer is more than happy to help you go through some math to make sure you right size your system for those hardware requirements, but they'll vary greatly. For camera count, Milestone can scale very, very large. We have customers with more than 100,000 cameras. I even have a customer I work with that has a little under 2,000 LPR cameras. So we can grow very, very large. As we touched briefly on that federation, and some of those ways are to tie the big distributed complex systems together in one central interface. So we can grow as large as what you need. And if you find something becomes too big, let me know. I enjoy the challenge of making it work.
Great. We're getting a lot of questions in that are specific to maybe a demo or things like that. Make sure you leave your information in the survey at the end of the webinar. We'll try to get with you and follow up with you, set up some time that we can answer some of those specific questions. We just don't have enough time in this webinar to cover everything that we want to. We'd love to, and we will have more webinars in the future. As a matter of fact, in November, we're going to have a webinar on intelligent video analytics. So if you're interested in more information on video analytics, that's coming up soon. And let's see, another question that we had has to do with body cams that how do they connect to XProtect, Carl?
Yeah, so we have a couple different ways depending on how the camera comes in. So like your access camera is traditionally going to have a dock, and that becomes that standard, your officer, whoever has the cameras, and at the end of the day, dock the camera, it'll pull the video off and transfer it over. Other devices like an IO node's body camera, we actually can get a Wi-Fi or cell connection to the camera and have live video from it. As well, we actually can have that device, connect to Wi-Fi when it makes its back to the station, and then wirelessly pull off video. So there's a couple different ways to get those body cameras connected in. Milestone is the open platform, so we're happy to play with whatever the manufacturer is going to give us for options on those devices.
Let's see. Any thought on a smart view option that could allow us to select a group of cameras, but show perhaps 9 with the most recent motion detected? Carl, that's probably also for you.
Yeah. So one option that could fit for this becomes, displaying in the smart client, there's an option to only show when there's motion on the video and leave everything else kind of tamped down. That's when you have those big smart walls with several cameras on them. It's easier to pull your operator's attention to that camera. In the smart client itself, it's an option when you're looking at the settings for that pane. We won't go into too many technical details here, but if you want assistance, always feel free to reach out to your CBM or your SE in the area, and we're happy to walk over it with you. But yeah, that sounds like it might be the best fit.
Great. Paul, let's talk a little bit about integration. We have a lot of partners. We mentioned it already, saying that we partner with lots of different folks. Can you talk a little bit more about that and who we partner with and how people can find out more information?
Oh, yeah. So we have a technology partner finder on our website, but it can be overwhelming because we have so many partnerships. So the best thing to do is to reach out to your local Milestone sales representative. Tell them about your needs. What are you looking to achieve? Because we have robust partnerships with all the leaders in camera technology, access control technology, video analytics. But it really comes down to what your use case is, what your needs are, and finding the right partner to work with.
There's lots of questions about our mobile client and our web client. And some of those folks that we're talking to here in the chat have a closed network. How do they gain access to the system via mobile client or web client if they have a closed network?
But one needs some kind of path to get there, being honest. Milestone works in a fully air-gapped on-prem environment, so we do not require the internet to function. We don't require that even for the web client or the mobile client. So you always can, build an internal network, use the web client internally, and then even use the mobile app internally and not open to the world by connecting your device to Wi-Fi. This becomes a common use case in schools. I see that a lot where they have their student resource officers that have access to the video and, they need a mobile device to go around. They can't just sit in an office all day.
All right, let's talk a little bit about cybersecurity. And we have some questions coming in on that. And I know that there's a lot of back-end stuff that goes on in terms of making sure that the systems are cyber secure. Either one of you, or maybe both of you, can comment on that for us.
I'd be happy to jump in. Milestone actually has a PSIRT, a product security team that is focused on the cybersecurity of Milestone XProtect. We even run it through independent third-party penetration tests every single year to make sure that we're addressing any vulnerabilities that happen. We also routinely release hot fixes and patches to update anything as it comes along. It's an ever-shifting landscape of trying to stay ahead of the bad guys and trying to stay one step ahead. So we're always doing our due diligence that very much. And that's where that care becomes super, super important. Care gives you the ability to upgrade your software. You can always do hot fixes, but it gives you the ability to do, major release updates that are going to add those cybersecurity enhancements. Over the years, we've seen, encryption to single sign-on to many of the newer cool technologies coming in.
Can you cover a little bit more on that? Maybe talk about the hardware?
Yeah, so the way we approach rating drivers for devices is to ensure we use all the latest updates to their secure communication between our clients and our recording servers and our recording servers to management server. So you can trust that it's all encrypted, and you can use certificates. So you can go as deep with encryption as you want, or keep it light if you're less concerned.
We focus pretty closely on the Axis Optimizer, and we have some other questions coming in asking about Panasonic cameras, Hanwha cameras, other manufacturers that we work with. And I know there's some really good integrations there with those cameras. They may or may not have their own app like an Axis Optimizer, but they're tightly integrated with XProtect. Carl, can you explain that for us?
Yeah, I would love to. So as we were showing earlier about that search framework, that's where a lot of the magic kind of comes in. Milestone XProtect is going to be pulling all of the events from the cameras directly. So it doesn't necessarily have to have a specific plugin for an iPro camera or a specific plugin for a Pelco camera. Both those manufacturers do have plugins that are similar to the Axis Optimizer, but they're not strictly required to get some of those events and metadata out of the video. You'll be able to search right out of the box with those devices.
Oh, we've run out of time for questions. I wish we'd saved a little bit more, but we have a lot of questions coming in. We're going to follow up by sending you an information that has a recording for this webinar and also answers to some of the questions that we didn't have time for. So please look for that in your email. If you would like to hear from us, if you would like to schedule a demo to learn a little bit more and ask specific questions, we can get you a demo with a real live person that will help walk you through and guide you through specific questions that you might have, specific use cases. We're excited to do that. Please make sure you fill out the survey at the end of this webinar. And thank you for taking time to join us today. Thank you, Paul and Carl both, for taking time out of your day to walk us through this information.
Of course, happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. That's all right. Very good. That wraps us up for today. We'll see you again next time when we talk about intelligent video analytics, and that'll be in November. So watch for an invitation to come into your email regarding that. Thanks. Hope to see you soon.